Oh, y'all. Check us out, check us out, check us out.
Well, hello everybody. Happy Thursday. We got a great show to come on tonight called the Maarcus podcast. So you can make sure you guys like and share this episode on Facebook and YouTube, and we're gonna get right on there. So I want to welcome my guests on here. We have Anthony Gathers and we have Pastor Reginald Steele. Give a shout out to them. I don't know if you guys want to introduce yourselves, and then we'll go into our icebreaker, and then we'll go into the show. So we start with Pastor Steele.
I am Pastor Reginald Steele. I am the founder and senior pastor of Kingdom in the Valley Christian Church, 16 plus years old, right here in the Phoenix area. And God has been kind these 16 plus years. I'm excited about this broadcast.
Yes, sir. We have Anthony.
Anthony Gathers, owner of AG's Barber Shop, established in 1996. Chandler, Arizona, the first African-American barbershop in Chandler. The East took over the East Valley, took them by storm. We're still doing it 25 years later. Got a shop in South Phoenix, AG's number 2. So
yes, sir.
We're just here to talk about it today.
So today's topic, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship. We have two great entrepreneurs right here that's going to teach you some things tonight. But I always like to do like some little funny icebreakers. So I'm going to start with Pastor. What would you? It's kind of funny because you preach on this on Sunday. What would you rather, pancakes or waffles? Got another pancake story. You could probably tell them about that too. You want to?
You know, we were so poor coming up. Most of you don't know. Maybe you do know. I have 5 kids. Me and my wife have been together almost 31 years. We've been married 28 years, and we were poor. I mean, just broke. But one of the things, you know, most of you broke people know that when things get tight, you got to eat breakfast at dinner. And we ate so many pancakes because money wasn't touching the agreeing back then. So you had to do what you had to do. But I got so sick of pancakes, so I'm going to have to go with waffles.
What's up, AJ? What you got?
Yeah, we all did the same thing, man. We came back out of them 70s where you fried bologna, you know. See? But I'll go with the pancakes, man, because, you know, I like waffles too, but I'll go with the pancakes. Even though we did the same thing.
Yeah. I
might mess with the flapjacks out.
Yeah, I always go with the waffles because we all made pancakes. We didn't have a waffle maker, so that's something different. And also, next thing I'm gonna say, what would you rather, apple juice or orange juice?
I am going to go with apple juice.
Yeah.
To me, apple juice is a little sweeter. I love me some. And it's crazy because I have 4 grandchildren, and they be getting on because I be drinking their apple juice. They love apple juice.
Yeah. What about you, AG?
I'm gonna go with that OJ with no pulp though.
Yeah, no pulp. You're gonna do it.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it with no pulp.
Yeah, and I say apple juice too, because I never liked the aftertaste on orange juice. They just have an aftertaste I didn't like. But like I said, a cold thing of orange juice is always be better than orange juice. And the last thing I'm gonna ask you, what's your favorite dessert? If you had a choice to do your dessert, you get to pick it anywhere. Anybody can make it or get it from anywhere. What would be your favorite dessert you can have?
I am going to have to go with peach cobbler. Man, you put some peach cobbler in front of me, it's a wrap. Yes, Lord.
Have you tried the Pat LaBelle peach cobbler? You got to go to Walmart. And don't get the regular one. It's one with extra crust.
Ooh.
So it's a thicker layer of crust.
Okay.
It's a wrap. It's good too.
I might be going to get that.
Yeah,
tonight.
So Walmart has those, and it's like if you don't get it now, I get you one for Saturday for sure. But it's the best out there right now. Yeah.
And it's at what store?
Walmart. Walmart has it. Yeah, because she had all those. She had a pies and everything, but her peach cobbler, the extra crust though, to get that one, it's good.
Man, that thing is calling my name now.
I guarantee you're gonna like it. Guarantee.
I bet I will.
Yeah. What about you, AG? What's your favorite?
Man, he took the words right out of my mouth. Peach cobbler, but it gotta have enough crust. I had a peach cobbler that just had peaches and it ain't gonna work.
That's not gonna get it.
No,
Nah, it ain't gonna work. But yeah, but
peach soup.
It's crazy. We all like the same thing, man. Cause like I say, for dessert I'm gonna have, it's gotta be peach cobbler for sure.
Absolutely.
So now we gonna get into the topic and so let you guys know you can comment and if you have any questions, you can call in. So I'm gonna give you our number on the air, but if you have our contact number, you want to call one of us, you can get on the air and you can ask your questions, or we can get our messages also and get in that way. So any question you have towards the end of the thing, we'll answer those questions and we'll get on there. So, but I want to start with Pastor Steele. Pastor Steele, since you are considered an entrepreneur. Some people don't really think because you're a pastor, but this is your place. And I want to say this too. I became an entrepreneur because of Pastor Steele and AG. AG was I guess he threw the alley, and then Pastor Steele pretty much done it. So he made it official. And we tried this before, maybe in 2013. It didn't work out, but you always say time is everything. So the timing actually worked right. So working for Pastor Steele, he's my boss. I'm so flexible, and I don't have to work a 9 to 5 anymore. So I want to say on air and you publicly, thank you for giving me opportunities, because my life is great now. I'm not really stressed anymore. I do what I love. It's not a job for me. I do what I love and everything, and you made that happen. So I wanted to tell you thank you for that. For sure.
Bless you, man. I'm glad you've been set free.
Yeah, man, it's for real. And the crazy thing about it, I was at work. I was like, God, I don't want to do this. I was there for 10 years. I said, God, I don't want to do this no more. I never forgot where I was at. I prayed. 2 weeks later, you had called me. Wow. I was like, golly, and you called, and then the rest is history. It's going to be 3 years next month that I've been with you guys.
And it's crazy because you mentioned briefly, AG is the one that connected us.
Yeah.
And then we interviewed you in 2013. Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't interview. We had somebody else that was the executive.
Yeah.
They went with somebody,
I didn't even get to meet you.
They went with somebody different.
Yeah.
And then over the years, I think before you came, we had at least 2 or 3 different people. And then, bam, what was that? 18?
Yes, sir.
2018, you got interviewed again, and here we are.
And the thing about it is, the first time we came, I wasn't even ready. I thought I was, and I thought I wasn't even really good because your ministry is so big. I thought I can do it, but I knew at the time, I couldn't do all this. But I went somewhere else to learn and do different things. When I came here, everything you wanted me to do, I was already expert at it then. So I wasn't even ready at the time.
That's interesting that you say that, because I think a lot of times experience is everything.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes you can get somewhere premature, and not have what it takes, and literally fall on your face. So I love that delay does not mean denied.
Yes, sir. And you always say it's who you know too, because if I didn't know AG,
right,
I can't get to you. Somebody always told me I always take 2 people, 1 or 2 people to get to someone you want to go. So AG was that one person in between us to get to you. I couldn't just get to you. So he knew me. He knew my character. I was a good guy.
Right.
And let you know, then you gave me an opportunity to do that. I showed it. So like I said, the rest is history. I never got to really thank you for that, but you made me an entrepreneur for the first time. So like I said, it's the best thing ever, man. So I love it. So I want to ask you, so being an entrepreneur, how did it start? Give me a little sort of journey how it started, because I know this wasn't your first business. You had another business you had before. So we'll go with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with obviously y'all know, most of you know that are watching, I'm a Bible man. Being a pastor, I gotta know the word. That's how I make a living. But nevertheless, Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 18 says that he gives us power to gain wealth. And I can remember back in my late 20s, I always had a desire to start a suit business.
Got it.
And before you know it, I stepped out on faith, probably at 29 years old, and I started a business called Suits of Excellence.
Wow.
And I was selling suits, ties, cufflinks, shoes, and whatnot. Matter of fact, I didn't have a store. Eventually, I did get one, but I started in Anthony's barber shop. He would let me pull my suits in there.
And we want to let people know too. They are half brothers too. By the way, if you got anybody know, they're blood brothers.
Right.
So I want to let the people know about that too.
Exactly. Same dad.
So you say you started in his shop.
Yep. In his shop, selling suits and cufflinks and ties. And when I wasn't in his shop, I was popping them out of a trunk.
Wow.
And selling stuff out of my trunk, suits. I was flying them in from New York.
Wow.
And getting them at wholesale.
I still got one of them shit. I can't even get my pinky toe in.
Zechariah 4:10 says to not despise the day of small beginnings.
Yes,
word despise means to not resent where you are currently, because sometimes greater is later. But you got to be, Matthew 25:23 says, if you be faithful over a few things, don't make your rule over many things. So literally started my suit business in the back of a trunk.
Wow.
And then that led to Anthony's Barbershop in Chandler. And then from there, I eventually shut the store down because I opened up the church.
Okay.
And I didn't want my allegiance to be split. And I knew that if I was going to be successful in ministry, I had to be all in.
Yes, sir.
So I shut my store down and got rid of Suits of Excellence and started Kingdom in the Valley Christian Church. And here we are 16 plus years later.
Yes, sir.
God has been kind. But like the word of God even says that God will give man witty inventions, which means creative ideas.
Yes, sir.
And I believe that most people, not all people, because there are some people that will probably work a 9 to 5 for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's cool. Yeah.
As long as you're making your money. Because
Yes,
2 Thessalonians 3:10 says, if you don't work, you don't eat.
Yes, sir.
But, those of you that are watching that feel like you're pregnant with a business, I encourage you, man, step out. And guess what? It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time,
And it's scary too. It really is.
Absolutely.
It really is scary, but you have to do it. Like when working for coming here, I know what's going to happen. So I had to make that step and see what's going to happen. But
right,
like I said, you have to be ready too. You can't just you don't have a plan or you don't have like I would say talent. You can't just I'm gonna do this. No, you have to have something behind you too that show you're ready. Also,
absolutely.
I really saw something in you, man. I knew you had it in you. And that's why it wasn't me taking a chance to let Pastor Steele know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It wasn't even a chance. I knew your character.
Yep.
You had great values. You had a good upbringing. So, I mean, that's a recipe for success.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And it's interesting because when you called me and said, man, I got somebody that can fill that role.
Yeah.
You said it's Beaumont. So I always thought your name was Maarcus Beaumont, but you're from Beaumont, Texas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everybody, some people, AG actually started that. So once he did it and everybody else started calling me that, and people said the same thing. I know your name was, I said, I'm from Beaumont. And my dad was kind of, so he said, why are you calling you Beaumont? I said, Dad, when you go somewhere in a different state, they're going to call you where you from.
Sure.
So he didn't really understand that. You know what I'm saying? He said, your name, I named you Mark. I'm like, hey, man, it's cool. But people to this day still call me Beaumont because of AG. So AG started that.
Barbershop name.
Yeah.
That's all. It's crazy because how I found out your name is that I was going through the checks because obviously you're on the payroll.
Yes, sir.
And I saw Marcus Hall. And I said, who is Marcus Hall? I think, who am I paying?
Right.
That happened another time too with another employee, but we won't go into that. He called him a certain name and come to find out that brother's name
legal
was
name.
I was like, who is this? So
Leroy Jenkins.
So that's how I found out that your name was Marcus Hall. But back to entrepreneurship too. In order to be a successful entrepreneur, I believe that you have to be willing to take risks.
Yes.
And I think sometime in life people play it safe, but you got to be willing to step out. I always talk about stepping out on a maybe.
Yes, sir.
And I always say, if you only live once, so if you're gonna fail, at least fail trying.
And I wanted to ask you too, Pastor. So how was that transition going from the suit business to the church? Because I know you was making money probably like pretty good, but church, now you probably putting money into the business pretty much. So how was that for you, the transition? How was that transition for you?
It was crazy because it took us, I was 4 or 5 years into the suits and finally I was developing a name.
Yeah.
I had clients and whatnot, had preachers coming through and whatnot. And then to get rid of that, it was tough. Yeah, because that was my income. It obviously brought a level of stability.
Yes, sir.
And then I have to basically go back to and restart something new. Man. It was definitely a step of faith. But 2 Corinthians 5:7 says we walk by faith and not by sight. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that God was calling me because he said families are waiting on you.
Yes, sir.
And I trusted that. And Proverbs 3:5 says trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. So I had to make a decision to not lean on my logic because logic said, well, hold on to the suits and do ministry because the enemy was renting space in my head saying, well, how do you know it's going to work? And how do you know if people are going to give to it? And God had to remind me, if it's my deal, it's my bill. You know what I'm saying? And here we are 17 years, but definitely it was a tug of war initially because I was kind of like, well, should I hold on to the suits and do ministry?
Yes, sir.
But I knew being a deacon and an elder in the ministry at other churches, I knew what it was going to take. And I knew that in order for kingdom to work, I had to be all in.
And one more thing before I go to the AG story is that I didn't know, I'm going to say for myself too, I'm going to speak for myself. Before I met you, I didn't know the part. All I see is kingdom, big kingdom. But I didn't know the part that what you went through to get to where you at right now. People don't know that you went to the white church, you went to the Hispanic church like that, and then because we think you just blew up. Like it's nobody just blew up like that, so they must be doing something wrong. That's what we think, because we don't know you. But tell us like the journey that took you from those other places to get where you at also right now. Also, because some people don't really know that story either.
Because I believe that in Luke 16:12 says, "How can you have your own if you haven't been faithful to another man's?" Yeah. And I had to take ownership in my dad's church. I took ownership in that white church and the Hispanic church. And I really believe it set me up for what I have today, because I believe that in order to be a entrepreneur that's successful and experience the greatness of God, you got to be willing to go roll your sleeves up for somebody else. And it's interesting that you bring that up. I can remember before AG's Barbershop 25, 26 years ago, when Anthony was working at Moe's in Tempe, and how he was over there working hard for Moe's. God let him rest in peace.
Yes, sir.
A good man, a great mentor. And I know we'll get into that. But it just goes to show you, some people, they'll look at his success and they'll look at my success.
Like you just,
like we just blew up all of a sudden.
But you were servants.
Exactly. And some people have no idea the work that was put in other ministries that set us up for today. And I believe if anybody's watching right now, man, wherever you are now, serve that company like it's yours.
Make it big,
Take ownership in that company, and watch what God will do for you once you step out and start your own.
And some people don't want to do that. Some people don't want to serve or make somebody else's name better. You know what I'm saying? At the time, they think, I want to be right away, but you have to serve other people. Absolutely. And like I said, you clean bathrooms, do all that kind of stuff. And some people think it's too big for that. And I know I have a lot of people. I know a lot of churches, a lot of pastors. I'm not talking about anybody I know. I'm just saying, but I know some people that I've never seen serve before. Some people that you go do that, or you get your own battery, you go do that. But they don't do it themselves. And you see where you at right now. I'm like, Like for instance, like last week, I seen you go and get the podium in. I'm like, what, Pastor? And we was kind of mad, like, do right there, Pastor. No, I got it. You went in and you helped me move the podium. I'm like. But you still got that service heart.
That's right.
But so I know, like I said, I know people personally that they don't. I never seen them serve or do it. They want to have people do it for them. Like when you one thing I know that your church got kind of blew up too, because you guys just pass out fortune cookies a lot too.
Absolutely.
So you pass out different tracks.
Right. But
I know some people, they'll get their members go do that, but the pastor not out there doing it. They just while they're watching. Right. But you were out there doing it yourself, so people can see your face and know who you are when they come to your church. It's like, to me, I think that's a good thing. You be out there in the field, not just in the pulpit, pretty much.
Exactly, because for the first 5 years of Kingdom, I led the outreach ministry every other Saturday, passing out door hangers, passing out water bottles in the community, standing out in front of Home Depot, passing out water bottles with our business card attached to the water bottle. And finally, somebody said, Pastor, you're not being as effective on Sunday and Wednesday because you out here in these streets with us. Listen, you already didn't pass that test. Let us handle it.
Yes, sir.
You go ahead and delegate this out. And I'll be honest with you, that was probably one of the hardest things I had to delegate out, because Luke 14:23 says to go on the highways and the hedges and compel them that my house may be full. So I was just following the scripture, if you will. And then the second thing, and we'll get to Anthony because I want to hear his story. But the other hardest thing for me to give up was first-time visitor calls.
So you would do those
for the first 5 years. Wow. And then finally I gave it to a young lady named Tanya. And then from Tanya, it goes now Mariah does it. So my daughter. So for that, and that was tough. I went through withdrawals, waking up in the middle of the night, you know, because I'm trying to cater to the people that God is sending to me and trying to have a shepherd's heart. So when I got pulled off my plate, that was tough too. But when I look back, I'm grateful that I was on the ground floor of the outreach ministry and the first
foundation of the church, man.
First time visitor calls.
Yes, sir. And so Anthony, I want to kind of hear how you started. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick before we move forward. You must tell them how you shine shoes, man.
Oh, I forgot about that.
You forgot it, man. You forgot that.
When the suits weren't selling and the ties weren't moving, one of his friends, what was his Eddie taught me how to shine shoes at the barbershop. So I would shine shoes and literally just minister to people all the time.
Wow.
And I did that. And like one of your friends, Noyd, he would bring in his dress shoes. I'm like 4 or 5 at a pair and have me knock them down, you know, so I can make a few dollars. And it was people like Mike Noyd and
Dwayne
McIntosh who supported my business with the ties and whatnot. And so just looking back, man, I forgot. Thank you for even reminding me, because people see what I got now. They see my glory.
I didn't even know that.
They don't know my story.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's something I need to even talk about more.
Yes, sir.
That I shine shoes, whatever it took for me to create wealth for my family.
Yes, sir.
Just put food on the table is what I did.
So
humbling.
Yeah, very.
So I want to kind of change the question a little bit. So what made you want to become a barber and then also become an entrepreneur? What was that? Did you see somebody do that, or was it in you? How did it come about?
Man, it started in high school with S curls and doing a line around the head, and the football team. Some of the guys from the football team, we would be playing Nintendo, and they was like, man, I need a cut, because they knew I had them clippers. And so I started doing that, and that S curl was real hot, to put the little line around the head and put a little S curl in. I kind of got good at it.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to get it done. Everybody wanted to get it done. So that's how it really started.
Got it. So starting AG's barbershop, how did that start? Like, can you tell me like maybe some of the fears with that? If it was hard, if it was kind of easy flow because what you learned. How did AG's barbershop? Shout out to AG's about to celebrate 25 years also. So September
6th. And I really want to get the record straight, because it's a lot of people that say, man, I told you to go to Chandler. I did this. I did. I'm going to tell you who told me to go to Chandler. I was cutting this young man's hair for prom. Jamie DeGroot, little young dude. He was like, man, you gave me a good man. We need a black barber in Chandler. So I said, man, this young dude, I ain't, I wasn't going to listen to him, but he got me to come out there. He went to his prom, had a good time, and he came back again. He said, man, I just want you to meet me out there. And from a kid's mouth, I believed a child.
Wow.
From mouths of a babe.
Yeah, man.
And I was foolish enough to believe him. So I went out to Chandler and I saw the place, and he said, man, there used to be a barber here. And he left the old barber chair in there. It was dusty in there and everything. Had the company come and open up the door for me. And I was like, man, okay. Saw a tumbleweed in the parking lot. I'm like, where am I at? I ain't know if I've ever been that deep in Chandler.
Man.
Right. And so called the company and said, hey, you know what? I want it. I made it that quick. I made a decision that quick. And I'll never forget the man's name. His name was Evans Van Angelo. He was the property management company over the building. And so he said, you can have it. Well, how much is it? It's $500 a month. Okay, $500 a month. Okay, I got you.
Dang.
And so I gave him the $1,000 down, but I went over there with 500 because I had to get started on my cabinet, so I had to give a lot of my money up. And so he said, hey, man, I'll let you get the keys and everything. I know you just gave me 500, but next Friday you gotta bring that 500, or I'm gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna have a place anyway. And so I took him to I took a break from cutting and took him to 500, and there started there. And he was so glad. I mean, here I am, a young black man, 25 years old, and this guy, he's a white guy, and he trusted me to bring the money back. And that's where it starts, man. You got to have a little, some values, man.
Yeah.
Some integrity.
Integrity, that's important, man. That's important.
Some good home training or something, know what I'm saying? So I got a guy to build some cabinets, and I was like, man, the cabinets are $6,000, and I had 3. And they should have been more than that, but I had 3, and I called my mom and dad, and I said, hey, I need $3,000 more, because I had already bought chairs.
Yeah.
I had the chairs in my garage, so each month I was buying chairs. I wasn't really telling anybody because they were hard to come by.
Yeah.
And so I called my parents, and they said, oh, we got you. Send that $3,000 back to you, and that was history. We went in there, started knocking stuff down. Me and Reggie, Pastor Steele, we started knocking walls down and fixing tile and painting, and it took us about 2 weeks to get that thing going, get it together ready for cabinets.
Right.
So,
and can I admit that I said, Anthony, are you sure you hearing from God on this, man? And we were in our 20s.
Gotcha.
We was going to church, but we wasn't looking for God either. Just whatever that's worth. He was still on our radar though. But I said, man, you really heard from God, because at that time there was no black barbershops in Chandler. But we were in there, like he said, painting walls and ordering pizza and working late nights and getting it together. And I can't believe that 25 years later, man. And so, I mean, he just went for broke in his 20s. Yeah. You don't see a lot of 20-plus-year-olds doing entrepreneurship. Yeah. Usually in your 20s, you're still trying to get your footing in life. And you dove out, jumped out on the water for real.
So if you could tell a young guy thinking about doing a barbershop, give him like, I would say 2 key things that they have to, 2 or 3 things they have to be successful with that barbershop.
Well, if I was going to tell a guy to get a barbershop now, I told you the rent was $500, right? Back in the day. And that was, that was fair. It was fair. And, but now you got rents of $3,000, $3,500.
Yeah.
What I would tell a young man today is that, and I told a guy this the other day, I wouldn't open a barbershop at this point, unless I own the building.
Wow.
And oh man, you hating me. I said, well, go try it then.
Yeah.
You asked me, go try it and get that whooping if you want to. So I mean, that's straight up, man. If you gotta, at this point, in these days and times, you gotta, because that's going to give you incentive also to go to work. They can put you out if you don't, if you're leasing, they can put you out, they can raise the rent, they can do anything, you must own that. If I was going to do it all over again, I would do it the same, because I did eventually. Chandler paid for the building I have on 7th Avenue.
Oh, okay.
So I had to get somewhere, but now it's so high that I would say, hey, you know what? If you can find you a little spot,
you can own it.
That you can own it, or if
that's good.
That's what I would tell them. But if they wanted to really try it, well, get a strong back.
Yeah.
and some good shoes.
And we're gonna kind of go back and forth a little bit, but I just came to my head when you said that you said nowadays. So I want to ask both of you and get an answer from both of you. How was your business, or how did you do during the pandemic happened, when everything was shutting down? So what did you do? Like, did you have to do marketing to stay on float, or you was good maybe, or what was the difference? What's a good thing and a bad thing? I would say that journey when the pandemic happened, how the world shut down.
Well,
how did it affect you guys?
It was very disturbing initially, because 2020 was a lot of curveballs. My dad died in January.
Wow.
And then my wife wakes me up in March after just getting done preaching to a full house, and wakes me up and says, hey, honey, they just said on the news that next Sunday we can't have church.
Wow.
And so I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And she says, we got to shift everything online. I'm used to preaching to packed crowds twice on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And so to have to show up that next Sunday, and you were here, obviously,
man.
Preaching to my wife and my kids and
praise team.
That's it. And that was it. And so it took me a while to get my footing, if you will, and to not know because at that time, 70-80% of our money was coming in the house.
Yes, sir.
Now only 20% of money was coming in online, and then you got to believe that people going to text to give to keep this thing moving. And so I got up there that Sunday with nobody really in here and made it happen.
And was it Easter?
It was maybe 3-4 weeks before Easter.
Okay.
Yeah, Easter was
April. But Easter, that's when you have a big cry. That's when everybody comes. And it was
empty in there. Nobody. We was abiding by the rules. Only maybe 15 people in there at the most.
I remember we had to drive notes in our car because we got pulled over. Remember at certain times, curfew.
True. Yep.
So we had to have. I remember I found a note the other day. I said, "Man, I remember we got pulled over to show the cops that we was at work at church." So things were so.
It was bad. The landscape of ministry shifted, and we had to kind of just shift with it. But it worked out for the most part. So when you start talking about the pros, business was still good. Financially, things were still sustained.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you even know we were able to redo our restrooms.
Yes, sir.
Put up new screens. We did a lot of, since we had time on our hand, we put a new roof on the building.
Yes,
I mean, so we stayed very proactive during that time, but on the negative side, I missed my church because I was grieving my dad who died in January, and I was grieving in March because I began to miss I lost my church, if you will, even though they were watching online.
Not knowing they're gonna come back though, because you never know.
Facts to that. Because even now, I think I have 3 churches. I got the I can't wait to get back people, which some of them are back.
Yes, sir.
You got the second group that are saying I can wait.
Yeah.
And in other words, I might come, but I'm waiting. And then I got the third group that says, no way, I'm not coming back. I'm watching online. And so it's been it's definitely been a interesting time. But I think overall I've gotten my footing.
Yes, sir.
And of course now we're rebuilding. But the blessings we had, probably, I think right now we're at like 71 new people that have joined in August alone.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm grateful for that, because I'm a big Acts 2:47. The church was added to daily.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm grateful for that, but definitely came with some challenges. But I'm glad that we persevered through it, and I'm hoping that this thing will pass over.
Yes, sir.
In Jesus' name.
And one other thing you didn't mention though, during the pandemic, you caught COVID too.
I sure did. And
so you couldn't even come at one point in time either.
I missed 2 weeks, and it was crazy because you were here. I was preaching how, listen, we all gonna die from something, but we will not die from this virus.
Yes, sir.
And I said that in March and got it in June.
Yes, sir.
And when I came back 2 weeks later, I said, listen, I never said we wouldn't get it. I just said we won't die from it.
So
my whole
was
family
different.
got it. But we came out on the other side of it, thank God.
Even like Zay, Mariah, also they learn how to preach to an empty building too.
Sure.
I know you used to people laughing. You said because Zay's a joker, so when he says a joke, he get a response. And he wasn't getting that response. Like you got to kind of keep going. It's like a comedian up there saying a joke is just quiet, or you go from there. So I seen them grow too.
Sure.
I haven't told them personally, but Zay and Mariah, I seen that level of their growth was like, bam. So when the people came back, it was like they was like, you know what I'm saying? So we all pretty much got better. Even me, I had to stay on my thing too, getting marketing in church. Hey, we doing this, we online here. We're gonna be doing this, we're doing video, because we had to go out, do like a communion drive-throughs like that, and then so I had to create different to get people engaged and say we still here, because some churches never came back.
Yeah, there's some that didn't make it, unfortunately.
They didn't have that online presence. And I remember Kingdom was one of the first churches that had online presence. Because before, some people like, we don't need no online, people come to church. But look what happened. Like, and people was calling me, hey man, can you help me? And stuff was out of stock. Stuff to this day still out of stock. You can't even get it. So some people, they couldn't get their payments online because they never sent it up. So a lot of people, some churches lost their building because of that too. So good thing we were up to be with something like that.
Thank God. That's so true.
So AJ, how did the pandemic affect you? Or
man, we didn't know how to deal with this pandemic. We didn't know anything about it. This was new to us, new to everybody. So nobody knew really what to do. So they were talking about closing businesses down, and leadership is not fun. I had to make a decision to close down before they closed us down. And
they closed salons down.
Yeah, they closed us down. But I made a decision before because I wanted to protect people.
Right.
I put the people. I put myself and other people. I didn't want to put anybody at risk, but that's not popular, right?
Jesus.
Everybody didn't like that. So we lost some barbers and stuff like that, and but we saved some money too. You got to save a little money. So we had some to the side, and we said we were going to pay our bills, but me and my wife, he who find a wife find a good thing. We're spitting out scriptures, right? And get favor in the Lord. Now, I'm not Pastor Steele, but I got a couple of scriptures.
Yes, sir. You're a deacon.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a deacon.
Sir.
That's right.
And so my wife, man, thank God for her, Kim Gathers. I want to give a shout out to her because, hey, man, look, you got to help me. Somebody that helps you meet these bills. and no, but
that's facts.
And
that's real.
Me and my wife, we had some savings, and then of course she put in for all these different grants and little loans. So the paycheck protection program was a help, and that's why we should all be in politics, right? People, I don't want nothing to do with politics. We should all be in politics because it's government. That's how we got that loan. That's how we get unemployment. That's how we get all these school programs.
And not to cut you off,
stuff like that.
Something happened in your shop that I have on tape. I need to put it online. Is remember when you had the mayor come to your shop, and remember Levine didn't have anything, and you have I can't think of his name, the older guy that spoke John Chambers. He told the mayor, we need a hospital in Levine. We need restaurants in Levine, because I live in Levine. We didn't have any of that stuff. Wow. And it's crazy how maybe less than a year start breaking ground. But now to this day, we have restaurants. We have a couple of hospitals. It's getting built up right now. I'm about to have a movie theater and stuff like that. So things happen in the community. Maybe, I don't know. To me, I'm going to say it happened because of that, because the community came in and had a panel. And they were talking to him, what we need. I guess he didn't know, but after that happened, things start happening in Levine. It happened in your barbershop. People really don't realize that.
Well, the community had an opportunity to come out and voice what they wanted and what they would like to see. And city council was there, and you know, a lot of people voiced what they wanted, and it actually happened.
It's
it
crazy.
Actually happened.
It could really happen.
And you know, the barbershop is a place of resource, a place where we can come and get away and talk about things we can't talk about anywhere else, and we can even bring our issues and problems there, and what we would like to see and what we don't like.
Yes,
you know?
sir.
So that's the gist of it, man. We get it done.
Cause you guys like counselors, because you like my mentor. You always tell me different things I need to do. With this, cut my hair. You guys pretty much are therapists, pretty much, you know.
Wow.
So give me some advice. Cause before I got married, you told me what I need to be doing, how to do this, to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because one thing, even with taxes, I didn't think about it. You said, Maarcus, you told me, you said you need to do this. You need to start writing your mileage down. I'm like, what you mean? You say you have a business now. So when you go to these different events, put your mileage down and they check you get down. Like, I didn't know that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's different things that business wise that you kind of let me know that helped me to this day. Because like I said, I didn't know that. Like my parents or my family, they don't really have their own business. I didn't know that, but you had your own business. You know how to get there. So things you don't realize you helped me with that you did too. So
that's awesome.
Man, I be talking so much stuff. Sometimes I forget what I be saying, but no, it's we have to do that. We have to pass it on. We got to help others. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're there for.
That's right.
If you know, we're there to lift each other up.
Yes, sir.
You
and one thing, Pastor, that you said, and I'm always listening to when you speak, but one thing that really affected me and really got to me this Sunday, you were saying how Ira said about the change, called chasing change hunt. How you guys would go and find change to go get food.
Absolutely.
And one thing you said my granddaughter Jada would never do that.
That's right.
And they kind of tricked him. I'm like, that's how it should be. Like, when you like my dad told me, he always told me my dad is the hard working man I ever met. He said, I don't want you working harder than me. I want you to be better than me. So when you said that, I'm like, that's true. She shouldn't have never had to do a change hunt. Right. She should become better and better. And that's how it should go. Yeah. So speaking of with that, where you came from, somebody out there that's probably don't think they can do that. Like you should speaking to existence, but I want to let you know that kind of affected me. I'm like, wow. That's true. Like she should never have to deal with how you guys grew up.
Absolutely, because like again, the struggle was real.
Yeah,
you know, having 5 kids in 6 years and 11 months. And, you know, the kind of money that we made between my wife and I was considered poverty money for a family of 7. Wow. But I will tell you, one of the things that we did was we always tithed and gave offering. And I would have family meetings with my children to tell them it won't always be like this. One day, God is going to do Ephesians 3:20, exceedingly abundantly above more than we can even imagine or think. And so just stay faithful. And like I mentioned Sunday, we would do change hunts, which meant to go through the couches, through closets, through hands, and find money so we can, you know, buy food. That's
rough, man.
Yeah, it was rough like that.
Having 6 kids and how to do that, man. And look at you now. It's like, that's like an inspiration for me too. I'm looking like, man, I'm not doing that, but just to know I can, you know what I'm saying, advance more than that. But like I said, when you said my granddaughter would never do that, I was like, yeah, that's how I should, because I know some people who parents struggle, now the kids still struggle. I'm like, how did that happen? Like you should be wanting to do better, you know what I'm saying? But their mindset, they I guess they are trapped to see that's how we gotta live. We can't get better than this. Like some people say, I'm gonna wait till I get to heaven. Nah, man, like
I'm gonna tell you,
but like I said, some people mindset is like that.
It is.
Man, I remember one time where y'all was at Jack in the Box and water cups.
Yep, remember them days.
Isaiah went and got getting ready to get a Sprite.
Ira, the baby.
Oh, it was Ira.
Yep, Ira. Yep.
And I thought you was gonna take his head off.
Yep. I made him pour it back in and get water, because Proverbs 20 verse 7, it says if a man walks in integrity, his children after him will be blessed. Wow. So I didn't, because he started. I mean, that's stealing. You give you a water cup and you get.
And some people be like, it's all right. They can't tell it's water.
And then that can turn into 10 years later him still in the car, or, sticking somebody up or something. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting. You mentioned my granddaughters. I have 4 of them.
Yes, sir.
And I made the comment that, we did the change hunts, and I said Jada would never have to do that. And just for Jada's more my 4th granddaughter.
Yes, your youngest.
Because Proverbs 13:22 says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children.
Yes,
so at almost 50 years old, I have a responsibility to leave a financial legacy to my children and my grandchildren. I believe every man should be working on that.
That's another topic right there you could talk about right there, man. It's like,
and especially in these times, because I mean, houses shacks is 300,000.
My God.
So you know what?
Things have shifted. That's true.
My son, he better keep the house, but don't sell it.
Man.
You know, or you know, don't buy no fancy car. I know he listening.
Yes, sir.
He talking about Teslas.
Man. Can we even talk about a little bit about that? Even being an entrepreneur, like you still have to save too, you know, even though you probably not at first you're not making a lot. So what's something you can help people with, telling them to save, like not going out and spending all that money. You got good money coming in, but you got to put some of that money away too. Like you said, leaving the inheritance. Like what's some steps? 'Cause I know you have people that we're about to start having some financial things coming up. So we can talk about that too.
Yeah, and I'm excited about that. For you that don't know, we haven't really announced it yet, but October the 2nd and October the 9th, I have entrepreneurs here at Kingdom that are going to be showing you how to get your credit together, how to become first-time home buyers, things along those lines. Because if you guys might not know this, but back in the day, if you weren't a homeowner, they didn't even consider you a human.
Wow.
You weren't even. And so I believe owning a home is huge.
Yes, sir.
You know, because obviously there's equity that comes along with. There's a lot of benefits that comes with that.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
I'm sitting in a good situation. I'm not going to talk too much on that, but I'm in a good situation where I got a lot of equity in my home, and it's a blessing to go home at night knowing that if I need to sell, I'm gonna walk away with a boatload of money. Hallelujah. And we know Ecclesiastes 10:19 says money answereth all things.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
It's hard
that we need to have.
It's hard to get loans. So most of the people who start a business, it comes out of their home.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I mean, you know, if you need any kind of money, it come out of your home, because you go to the bank and they know you can bring the best business plan.
Sure.
You know, here's a business plan, man. You beautiful. Right. Yeah. Okay. And I had a home. So I had to pull some money out of my home later down in life. And I'm glad I had that. And I also had a SEP IRA, a self-employed IRA. So you have to have a little money saved up so you can, you know, retire one day. You don't want to work in your 80s.
That's real talk. You got to have those 401b3s, 401ks. I mean, like you said, an IRA, you know, you got to have all that stuff, you know, because again, like for instance, I started Kingdom when I was 33. My goal is to go between 58, 63. 58 puts Kingdom at 25 years. If I go to 63, that puts Kingdom at 30 years.
Wow.
So I want to retire right around that time. And that's why I got 401ks and IRAs. And, you know, you got to be, you know, because some people will live for today, you know, and at the end of the day, I believe, I hate to use this term, but everybody becomes a has-been. You know, even as a preacher, as I get older, somebody might come to Arizona and somebody might take a liking to a younger pastor, if you will. You know, I'm still fairly young, if you will, you know, but nevertheless, I'm getting older. So I know this is not something that I want to do forever. I believe I will preach forever, but I won't pastor forever.
Gotcha.
Totally different assignments, you know, because my goal is to eventually give my church to my son, my oldest son, and let him carry on the legacy, if you will.
Yes, sir. And you said a couple of weeks ago too about it's called a successor. You said another preacher said
in order for you to have success, you got to have a successor.
Right. And it goes with other business too, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. That goes with. Hey, I tell my son, watch, learn. And I'm proud of him. He just graduated from Arizona State University. And I'm happy for you, son. Appreciate you. Yes.
I had a couple of facts.
But I'm going to tell you, I tell him all the time, you got to watch the business. So he's behind the scenes, learning how to run AG's Barbershop, because it's got to go on. We have a brand, and we want to continue building that brand so it can go far farther than, you know, I might not even be here and it still be going on.
That's right.
So that's the goal.
Good. That's good.
So I have a friend that sent me some facts about entrepreneurship. A couple of facts is going on. I'm gonna read a couple of those. It says 20% of small business fail within the first year. That's like 20%. That's a lot. People don't realize that. And they say there's 46% of business entrepreneurs are between the ages of 41 and 56. So it's like,
yeah, you know, and like I said it at the beginning that not everybody's called to entrepreneurship. You know, some people are called to work a 9 to 5, and there's nothing wrong with that. My mother-in-law worked for Head Start for 33, 34 years, and she's sitting real nice. She's been retired now for 12 years and living really a great life. My father-in-law, he taught at Carl Hayton High School for 26 years,
Wow.
which is ironic because that's the high school I graduated from.
Okay.
I met my father-in-law before I met my wife.
Dang.
And he even made a comment to me. He said, man, I met you back in, high school, and I knew for something that you were meant for my daughter. And, obviously he's a member here at the church now. Yes, sir. But he worked at not only Carl Hayton, but he worked at another high school. He did 30 plus years, and he's living. Lack is not on their radar. So we don't want anybody to think
say you got to be entrepreneur.
You got to be an entrepreneur to be successful. Sir. You can be successful working a 9 to 5 because both of them are doing phenomenally well, and they're both 73 years old and retired and, and been a blessing.
Yes, sir.
But that's a chance that you take, though, stepping out. It's risky. It
risky
really is.
It's risky business. You have to put a lot of work in, and you have to, you gotta be on your knees a lot because there's a lot of faith and a lot of grace. Because I didn't know how I got through it. I'm like, wow. By the grace of God, I was sitting up there with no money in the bank, but you'll never know that because I'm gonna keep that poker face on and keep cutting.
My God.
And it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So you just gotta keep going. You gotta keep believing.
Keep going.
You might have to put in some extra hours.
That's so good.
Yes, sir.
I remember one time Anthony was in the infancy stages of his barbershop, and he had 2 or 3 guys walk out on you. And I'll never forget. I lived across town because he was in Chandler. I lived way in Glendale.
Wow.
And I used to go to at the time it was the Valley West Mall, which since been knocked down. But they had a barber school in the mall, and I used to go there because it was like a couple of minutes from my house.
Okay.
And so when Anthony told me what happened, I had a few of those guys actually go to his barbershop and help him until he was able to get more employees.
Wow.
So my point bringing that up is that every business is going to go through adversity. Even 1 Peter 4:12 says, think it not strange concerning fiery trials. Everybody's faith is going to go on trial. My faith was on trial when I was preaching to more chairs than people. And that's not talking about when I was in the swap meet.
Yes, sir.
Almost 17 years ago when I had 37 members and I had 150 chairs out there. I'll never forget, God told me, he said, I gave you faith to buy 150 chairs. Why do you keep putting 100 of them out? I'm like, Lord, we only got 37 members. He said, well, put all the chairs out. Trust me that I can fill them up. And I would go in there at midnight and study. And before I would leave, I would prophesy over every chair that the God would fill them up. Romans 4:17 says, call those things that be not as though they are. And so I began to pray over those chairs. And before I knew it, we was in that swap meet. We was doing an 8:30, a 10:30, and a 12:30.
That's amazing.
You know what I'm saying? And so that just shows you if you put in the work, like Anthony was saying, sometimes you have to work overtime, especially when it's your business.
Yes, sir.
But I'll never forget when those guys walked out on him, and I walked in that barbershop, and he was cutting by himself and had like 12 people waiting.
Man.
But he just kept grinding.
That's how I got faster.
So I also wanted to you have something else? I also wanted to ask too. We talked about it earlier about not getting burnt out, about taking back when you have an entrepreneurship. You got to have somebody probably there to help you out, so you could take a break. And you said something about that too. So I wanted to say that again about
Proverbs 11:1 says a false balance is an abomination to God. I believe that in order for you to be a successful entrepreneur, successful at life, period, is sometimes you need to unwind and go breathe some different air. Matter of fact, me and Anthony and our 4 other brothers, we just took a trip to DC a few weeks ago to just get away. We wanted to bond as brothers, but we also wanted to get away from our places of business too. Because we have other brothers that are entrepreneurs. We have a brother that's a chef, and we also have a brother that's an electrician.
Yes, sir.
And it was good for us to just unwind and just get away. And our other brother's a realtor as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So everybody's doing something.
Yeah. Having to get away.
That's important.
You gotta get that rest, because if you don't take it, you won't get it.
Man, come on.
And these people, for me, they're gonna get haircuts when I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? And gone 1 week, they're gonna get that haircut.
Right.
So, just take some time out for yourself, and also take care of yourself. That fast food and all of that old mess. I did that.
Sure.
I did that. That wasn't good. Eating on the run. Marvin said, man, AG, you can't keep eating on the washer and dryer and then coming back. I had an old cheeseburger. I watched Mr. Greathouse eat a cheeseburger and smoke a cigarette while cutting somebody's hair. I couldn't believe it. Jeez.
Brother was multitasking.
Oh, he was cold with it.
So and also, Pastor, you had has it been 2 years now?
2 years.
Since the heart.
I had a heart attack, an enlarged heart, a couple years ago.
Yes, sir.
In Miami on vacation. And a lot of that had to do with not taking care of myself, just preaching and traveling. And like you were saying, Anthony, eating on the run. And at 260 pounds, I'm about 232 pounds now. So I had to make a decision. My doctor told me 3 things. He said, get a gym membership, take your meds, and stay away from salt. Man. So I've done those 3 things.
And it's not easy, man.
Oh, man.
It's not easy.
It's you know, you making a decision between going to get a smoothie and Taco Bell. The struggle is real.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? You know, but I've bounced back. I got a clean bill of health back in March of 2020.
Yes, sir.
And so doing well now, thank God. But I was 47 at the time. I'm 49. So literally, we could try to say the enemy was trying to take me out, but no, I was betraying myself by not, like Anthony was saying, not resting. And it's interesting. You were here last Wednesday when my son taught on resting and refueling and relinquishing. And sometimes, you know, it's hard to relinquish the mic or the clippers.
Okay.
You know, but like he said, he was out of town, but people still got their haircut. I was out of town, but somebody was still up there preaching.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes if you want to be successful, you got to learn how to delegate.
But so you talk to somebody that's out there right now that's probably by themselves, don't have nothing. What advice would you give them to go find somebody to help them with that, or like how? Because like I said, they're doing a business by themselves. They don't have time to take a vacation. They don't have time to rest. It's trying to become successful. How do they get out of that situation? Probably get some help.
Well, sometimes that's just how it goes, you know.
Okay.
You got to work your way out of it.
Okay.
You know, and
your way out of
you got to work your way out of it, but you know, be able to smell the roses as well. You know, kind of balance that. But you're gonna have to put in some work. This ain't an easy. Nothing. You can't go around it. You can't go over it. You have to go through it. Hard work is hard work. If you try to go around it, you're gonna meet it again.
It's gonna be waiting for you.
If you try to go over it, you're gonna meet it again.
Yes,
so
sir.
you got to put the work in, and when you put the work in now, you put the work in now, so you don't have to put the work in later, because you're gonna get older. And you're not going to be able to do what you did when you was 25.
Right.
I'm still trying to do it. I can't do it.
Man, that's good.
And even speaking about, I know you talk about too, Pastor, about staying relevant too, because sometimes you say you've been 16 years, 25 years, you can't do the same thing you was doing back then. You got to stay with the times too right now. Because what's some things that help you with that? Like,
well, I mentor a lot of pastors, and I've told a handful of them, you cannot do A-track ministry in a streaming generation. I might have lost a few of my millennials because they might be like, what is an A-track? You know, that was before CDs and DVDs and so on and so forth, you know, but I really believe that in order to be successful, you have to be relevant, you know, even with your topics. You know, I try to make my topics catchy, catchy. Like I did the series, I think it starts on AZTV this Sunday, Unstoppable. You know, just trying to be relevant, because we all know the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He's trying to stop us in our tracks.
Yes, sir.
But I read it in the people for 8 weeks. You are unstoppable. We know Romans 8:31 says, if God be for us, who can be against us? So at the end of the day, I think it's important to remind people, you know, of that, you know, so that they can have the leverage on the enemy, because we know, again, he comes to still kill and destroy.
Yes, sir.
But you got to know that you are in a fixed fight, that you win, and that at the end of the day, you know, Isaiah 54:17 says there's no weapon formed against you that can prosper. And
staying relevant also with the churches, like you have staff that does that for you too. I know some churches, they try to be over everything. So me even working here with you, you don't bother me. You know, as long as I get my stuff done, it's gonna get done. And to me, it makes me work better. You know, I'm free. I know I'm gonna get my work done. So I think staying relevant with that, like having a young crew with you around, like that type of thing. And to me, like I think social media is important now too. Social media can be bad too, but I think you use it the right way, it could be successful too with that. So like I said, streaming and things like that, you got to do that too.
You have to, because I can remember I struggled when ministry started shifting to social media. I'm like, no, we want butts and seats. They need to stop watching online. They need to get they behind in the church. You know, but then I learned over the years that, you know, things have shifted. There are some people that are not coming to the church, that they are going to watch online. And so I had to get into that mindset that, you know, things are shifting, that there are some people that are just not going to get out of bed, but they will still watch you online and actually still give and so on to what you're doing. And so you almost got to take the good with the bad. And like you said, I've been blessed to have young minds around me. And because even if you notice, I don't even hardly come to staff meetings anymore. I've kind of delegated it out to my oldest son and my wife, and they pretty much have run it, because I believe that as a visionary, you can't always be a manager. You know, and now I like what Anthony said, in the early stages, you got to be there. You got to work hard. You got to smell the roses. You got to see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you'll be able to unwind and take breaks. But if you're just starting a business, you know, and it's just you got to go for it. You got to go for broke. And that season will come where you'll be able to step back and take a vacation and so on and so forth. But like, for instance, when I started Kingdom, I preached every message the first year. I didn't let nobody preach. I didn't go on no vacation.
I heard a bishop say, I know the truth. He said when a man of God preaches on a Sunday morning, it's like an 8-hour workday.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, a half an hour of preaching is equivalent to an 8-hour shift. And an hour of preaching is equivalent to a 12-hour shift. Because your adrenaline's pumping, your heart's pumping, and so on.
Especially the black preachers.
Exactly. Up there screaming and all of that.
I know Joe Osteen, you know, he up there talking to the people, you know.
Right. You know, black folks, we get animated.
Yeah, man. So
demonstrative.
You said you did that for a whole year.
Yeah, a whole year, man. I didn't take any time off because I knew I was laying foundation. And that they didn't need to hear nobody else but me. I'm trying to, you know, blaze a trail. At that time, I was pastoring in the Surprise El Mirage area. And we had 93 people show up that first Sunday. 37 came back. But before the year was over, we were at probably, I think, 1,100 people, seeing about 450 to 500 of them every week, which, you know, is rare because, you know, Arizona's not a Bible Belt. It's not at all, and there ain't a lot of black people either. I think 3.4% black. And that's been another blessing, is that, you know, we've been multicultural, as you know. You've been a member here now for 3 years.
Yes, sir.
You see all ages, all races coming through here. So that's been a blessing.
Yes, sir. And then
so it's been a blessing to stay relevant in the barbershop, because these guys want to get afros, but they want to mess it up. So they just make it a little easier for me.
That's a good point. So, you got these different hairstyles too. Yeah, how do you do that?
And you know, parts have come back, and we used to do parts back in the day. So you know, that's how you stay relevant. Little taper, but they want to mess the afro up. So that's cool for me. Look, a little taper on the side. They made it a little easier for me.
They want it all nappy now.
But also it's crazy too, AJ. You got people coming in as a bald head and want you to put a hair on there, like to glue it on, and then you got to shape that like a real haircut.
Well, I'll let somebody else do that. I mean, that ain't my forte. I don't even, you know, I'll give you a bald head and let you go. But, you know, we just have to stay, like they didn't know I knew what Yeezys were.
Gotcha.
You know, but I'm around young people. You know, I got a young crew, young staff.
Good.
And so, you know, we stay relevant like that. And one of the big things in barbering is just showing up. We have a lot of divas out there. They want to come in at 12, 11 and stuff like that. You know, just being on time and being consistent about what you're doing. And the people will come, and you just got to be there, and they'll come.
And I got too much saying. We'll get out of here. But I wanted to ask too. Like me, I'm an entrepreneur, but I don't have to have a building for what I do.
Right.
But so you have like you got to have a building. It's a church. You have to have a building. So is location? How do you do that? Because you can go to a location that's a barber is all white people. You're going to learn how to cut white people hair. Or it won't make it, right?
No, they're gonna come to you. They'll come to you.
Okay.
Building, and they'll come.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? So you just got to cater to what's around you, because you might not get it in the exact place you want it.
Oh, okay.
Especially in these. I mean, you want to get a good location,
but sometimes it don't work like that.
Man, not in Phoenix, Arizona right now at this point. I mean,
and I can remember when he started 25 years ago. Again, I was right there on the side renovating and tearing stuff down, and the cabinets went in.
Yeah.
And at that time, I don't even think Chandler was 1% black. They had to be like 0 point something. We're talking 1996.
1996.
Yeah. So I mean, he said if you build it,
they'll come.
Build it and they'll come. Man.
I walked in there like, my God, because again, I was a doubter, but I still believe. But you know,
but
even
realistic.
Even the father, when you know the Bible, when his son, you know, was demon possessed, he said, I believe. He said, but help my unbelief.
Yes,
you know, I believe, but I was like, Lord, help my unbelief. You're starting a barbershop in a predominantly white area. Right. But like he said, if you build it, they'll come.
And I looked around the area, and there was a black church. I was next to Bishop Sweet.
That's right.
Higher Heights. Yeah. And when I saw him there, I was like, yes. At least I got one customer.
Shout out to Bishop Sweet.
Shout out to Bishop Sweet. Yes, and I was next door, and I'm still cutting his hair to this day. And a lot of people that were in his church still comes to the barbershop.
Wow.
And then I inherited some people from Moses and working with him for a while. And some of my barbers are cutting their kids' hair right now to this day. So as long as you keep a good name is better than silver and gold.
That's good.
Right? If you got a bad name, man, it's hard to
God.
to maneuver with a bad name.
Man,
that'll preach.
And I had
some people don't realize that, man.
Hey, I had a guy tell me, man, look, you have to do what others won't do, so you can live like others can. You gotta do.
That's right.
You gotta do what others won't do, so you can live like others can.
Gotta preach.
So
right.
I mean,
that's good.
And that goes for everything on the football field, basketball.
Yep.
You know, you gotta train harder if you want to be a good football player.
Right.
If you want muscles, you gotta work a little harder, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So pretty much being an entrepreneur, you guys have been saying this whole time, it's not like you say, it's not cute and sexy.
No,
right.
You know,
not
so
fun. Not fun.
You're gonna have to work to be successful, you know. So I know nowadays, like I said before the pandemic, we could say that, but entrepreneur is a cool thing to do. I know before it wasn't like that's hard. I can't do that. But people don't realize some people start it and they don't finish because it's hard work. But people out there, I want you guys to let you know it's hard work to be successful, you know. But it's at the end of the day, successful, it's worth it though, you know.
It's worth it.
Private struggles.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you have private struggles. You can be up all night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we had a fire in Chandler, you know, thank God for insurance. You know what I'm saying?
That's the key. Get insurance. You gotta.
Hey, business owners pay that insurance. Please keep that insurance up.
Right.
You know, because that really came in handy when I had that fire. And they said, "Well, what are you going to do?" I said, "I can't. Look, I just depend on the Lord." On the news, I said that, and that's what I was just. That's all I have.
Yeah.
You know, and a steady hand.
That's good. I did a message years ago called "Adversity."
Yeah,
it's God's university. That if you want to be successful, you got to be willing to go to the university of adversity.
Man.
And so
hard knocks.
Yeah. And I remember, and one of my kids reminded me of a story when we were in a swap meet, how I would pick them up from school and help, because at the time we were using the swap meet, they would have quinceañeras and other events, and we were sharing the building with a whole bunch of other people. And thank God we had it on Sundays and Wednesday, you know, but they would help me set up chairs. And then there was times where they were at school, I would go by the Home Depot and pick up about 3 or 4 Hispanics and have them get in my van to help me move those 150 chairs around. We would have to drag them from the back and of the swap meet and bring them in there and set them up. And then we'd have to set up all the equipment, the drum set.
And then have church.
And then one of my kids reminded me that I picked them up from school. And when they got in the car, they saw 3 other men in the car.
Like, who is this?
Right. They're like, Dad, I'm like, they're going to help us pull out them 150 chairs. Man. And so to go from 150 chairs to almost a 1,200 seat sanctuary on 10 acres that we actually own, because the Bible says to be above only and not beneath the head and not the tail.
This is yours.
This is mine.
Yes,
we own it. We ain't leasing.
Yes,
praise God. You know, because Anthony said it earlier. If you want to be a barber, his first advice was try to buy the building.
Yes, sir.
Because you don't want to throw $3,500 or $4,000 away per month.
Yes, sir.
Because I can remember we had 3 campuses and I was paying $64,000 in leases.
Wow.
Not $6,400. Because we had Scottsdale Kingdom, Phoenix Kingdom. We
all
had
that money.
Park, just throwing money away. But thank God we moved in here our 10th year. And then ironic that God gave us 10 acres in 10 years. So he gave me an acre per year, if you will. Wow. And now almost 7 years, this New Year's Eve, we've owned this building that's gone from paying $3 million for, that's worth probably over $10 million now. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So we're in the sweet spot. So, but that's just the goodness of God. But I believe that we are where we are today. We had to put the work in. Yes, God has blown on it. Yeah. But I believe in order for God to do the super, you got to at least do the natural.
Yes, sir.
You got to sometimes kickstart your miracle.
Yeah, you got to be an example. You got to lead by example.
Yes, sir.
People got to see you cleaning the bathroom.
That's good.
Picking up paper in the parking lot.
That's right.
They got to see you sweeping up the floor.
Right.
They got to see you wiping down the bathroom. You know.
That's right.
Hey, I'm never too big for that.
Come on, man.
Yes,
you can't never get too big for that because you got to take care of your place.
That's right.
I know we said that earlier too. You gotta have a support system too.
Sure.
So I know you can't do anything by yourself, you know.
Right.
Oh man,
You can't. But like in that infancy stages, you like you saw me, I grabbed the podium and helped get it there. I didn't even preach that night.
Yes, sir.
You know, my son was up, but I got up there because I didn't want him to move it because I want him to be focused on what he needed to say.
Yes, sir.
So I ran up there and helped whoever that was, and we got it where it needed to be. But I can remember the days of cleaning. That's how I started. You know, when I told my dad I wanted to be a preacher, the first thing he told me was, I need you to clean my church on Monday and Thursdays. And so that's what I did for a whole year. Yep. And then I preached my first message at 25 called Roll with the Punches. And I've been rolling ever since. You know what I'm saying? But see, people, they say, well, how did he get on TV? Well, like you said earlier, because people in the city have even said, what are the Steele? They just came out of nowhere. Yeah, no, I had a lot of private victories that nobody knew about.
Right.
Just and people talk, like I said, I was one of them. I didn't understand, like, this dude, he never fleshed it with us. He never came, because I was part of the black community in Phoenix. Sure. But I never seen you. Right. Now all of a sudden I came over on 19th Pier. I'm like, how you got this? These dudes been doing it longer than him. Right. And they still in this storefront, or they still in this. But I'm like, like I said, they don't know your story. So that's why another reason I'm happy you on here telling that too, so we can put this on the airways and let people know, like, you was doing the work, man.
Absolutely. And then I always say, well, we don't get by revelation, we get by association.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't take kind to this, but I went and hung out with them white guys for about 5 years to get some mentorship.
Yes, sir.
And I'll never forget, the white pastor said, y'all black men got a message, but y'all don't have methods. Wow. He said, so I'm gonna teach you methods. And he said, when you leave here, you will have a mega church. So while people was saying stuff like, you know, Steele didn't left his dad church. And you left him, you over there with this white man now. And man, it looked like a setback was really a setup for my come up. Because after I left the white church, then I went to an all Hispanic church. And people were like, what is Steele do? What is he?
They don't understand.
But 1 Corinthians 9:22 says, be all things to all people to save some. So God was exposing me to each culture.
Because your church is going to be multicultural.
Exactly. And then I was able to learn and glean. And I think that's another thing. Right. And I'll give it the mic back, give the ball back to you, is that some people aren't teachable. Man, you gotta remain teachable. Wow. You know, if you want to be the teacher or the guy, if you will, you gotta learn how to be a student.
Yeah.
I would go to Mo's barbershop and I would watch Mo's teach you how to line people up.
Yeah.
But I saw that teachable spirit. Yeah. So I'm not surprised 25 years later, but you were teachable. And we live in a generation where a lot of these people are not teachable. Man. They just want it without grinding for it and learning from somebody else, if you will.
And it's crazy, because I know you now. And I tell people too, on the side sometimes, go past Steele and ask him. He will help you. Right. But some of these people think like, oh, no, he ain't gonna help me. Not even knowing that you would. I try to tell him, I said, just call him or just go up there and he'll talk.
Right. And I'll talk to anybody. I've met with pastors with 2 members. I've met with pastors with 20,000 members. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I feel like I got something to lend. I was at the I do this boxing class during the week now, and they call me OG. You know what I'm saying? So I must be getting old. I know I said about 25 minutes ago, I'm a young man. I'm lying, but nevertheless,
you still young, man.
But it did later that day. I was out with my kids, and somebody was like, "OG." That's, the Bible says, let everything be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. So you got 2 or 3 people echoing the same thing. There's some truth to it. So I'm an OG now. So I asked pastors, man, listen, call me if you need some advice or if you want to meet up.
Yes, sir.
I'm more than able, and I'm accessible.
Yes, sir. You really are. You really are.
And I want to pour into other younger guys, because I don't want to be the only successful guy.
Sir.
I want to see other ministries pop up and other businesses and entrepreneurs pop up and be successful at what they do.
Because sometimes, and another thing too, you make it look easy too. Some people say, I can do it. Yeah. And they go out there and they don't know, man.
Well, that's a big problem, right? Yeah. What it looks like.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
they go in the barber shop. I could do a barber shop.
I can do that. You know. Okay. And I've even told people, please go do it.
Yeah.
Please. Because I want you to get this whooping. I told them that. Come get this whooping. Because you're going to take some bumps and bruises. But at the end of the day, if you treat people right.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
It's always feast or famine, you'll be able to get through a COVID. You'll be able to get through these times like this.
That's yes, right.
Sir.
And people out there right now, if you're working for someone, support them, help them help you, and vice versa. Support them. Don't just leave them hanging. They put their money up. I've seen barbers put their money up and get a shop, and everybody leave. Come on, man. Would you want somebody to do that to you? Let's start sticking together and help us help you and help each other.
That's
you know,
good.
let's unify and get some more Black businesses going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can do it. We just got to get behind each other.
Get behind each other. That's the key. You know.
That's a whole nother subject, man.
Listen,
trying to get people to do that.
That's like pulling teeth sometimes.
Wow, what is the problem?
Because and I think we said it early when I started my church. Anthony gave a $300 seed, so he didn't just come and take up one of the chairs. He sold into what I was doing, just like I sold in him. Because the Bible says in the book of Galatians that a man soweth, that will he also reap. That could be good or bad. But because I was sowing good seed into his barbershop and helping him, it came back to me some years later, where he came to the first service and sold the seed because he saw the God in me and wanted to be a part of that foundation. And here we are now. And one of our good friends, we praying for even now, Mark Sr., who had a stroke a couple of months ago.
Yes, we just want to keep him up.
One of our friends from the street when we was BC days before Christ.
Yes, sir.
You know, but he was at my first service as well and sold a $300 seed, and he just had a stroke. So we're praying for you, Maarcus Sr. Hang in there, man.
We make sure you see this.
And learn real quick. Learn how to sit still in church, in business, in work. I had a friend tell me this morning, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but I got to bring it up. He hired a guy in the middle of COVID, lost his job, and paid him a good salary. And the dude came and said, man, I'm sorry, I got to leave you. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no kind of loyalty anymore. Man,
that's key. Loyalty.
Where's the loyalty at? I'm blessed to say there's still some loyal people out there. I got a few good men that work with me, and I'm grateful and I'm thankful. And you know, they all know my character. They all know that they can come to me and talk to me about anything, and we'll get it straight. I had a guy one time come to me and said, man, I don't want to work in this barbershop over here. This dude, this. I said, man, did you sit down and talk to him? I said, when you sit down and have a conversation with him, just come back and holler at me and let me know how it goes. He went back and talked to the man, and they ended up still working for him. That's what we got to do. Sometimes we just have to have a conversation.
That's so good. I've learned this in life, that if you will stay unhealthy until you have a conversation. I made a comment, even in order to have a healthy marriage,
you always say
you got to talk about the unhealthy stuff. And I believe that's, and even in business, in order to get healthy relationships, you got to talk about the unhealthy stuff. He was able to, whatever that, wedge they had between them, they were able to have that. And you got to be confrontational. You can't be passive aggressive, because sometimes a conversation can iron everything out, and you can still walk together. You know,
and sometimes it can make you go your separate ways.
Sure, and that's okay too.
I'm pretty sure you have both probably lost employees and members and things like that too through the years also. But you still doing it though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. You know,
and some of them come back. You know?
Yeah, man. Absolutely. And I've seen that. I have people leave my church, and then 7-8 years later, they're like, "We back," and you still gotta love them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason, people had conflict, and and sometimes I'm realizing even in ministry, when they leave, sometimes it has nothing to do with you. It's something going on within themselves or in their marriage, and they'll just use the church as an excuse. But it's not going to stop me from showing up on Sunday and Wednesday, because at the end of the day, and Anthony can testify to this, that AG's is his baby. Kingdom is my baby.
Absolutely.
So you can be in my life or out of my life. This thing, we're going to keep this thing moving.
You got to, man.
Keep it going.
Got to keep going.
And I'll tell you this, when you let somebody go, I'm going to tell y'all this, entrepreneurs, don't bring them back. You let them go for a reason. I'm telling y'all, because when you let them come back, they feel more empowered. Oh, they let me back. They need me. I bought this for him. Once they gone, let them left.
That's it, man.
That's something there, man.
I've had members, not members, but I've had employees that have quit and stayed at the church. And then years later say, well, I want to come back and work. And we're like, oh, no. Wow. Because there's a book out called Who's Holding Your Ladder? And one of the chapters talks about how you have to hire slow and fire quick. Man. Because the last thing you want to do is invite a cancer back in. Because if the Bible says a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So one person can put a wedge
Yes.
and spread a cancer through your whole business.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's why
Absolutely.
I've gotten older and I've gotten a little more wiser, where I'm a little more merciful to people.
Mhm.
But you know, back in the day, man, I had to go street on some of these folks.
Yeah,
and
man.
be like, hey, listen, you ain't coming back here. We both, matter of fact, we giving you the left foot of fellowship.
Yeah.
And some people think, man, this is supposed to be the church.
You always say Pastor Reggie and Pastor Steele and Reggie is two different people.
Two different people.
Yeah.
You know, and when it comes to kingdom, I'm gonna do everything I have to protect this baby.
Yes, sir.
And I love everybody. I didn't say I like everybody, but I love everybody. Some people it's like, hey, listen, won't you go on to church on the hill over there? Because at the end of the day, we want to keep this thing moving. One thing I've learned, anything unhealthy won't grow. So we want to stay healthy. We want AGs to stay healthy.
Yes, sir.
We want Kingdom to stay healthy. We want your business to stay healthy.
Yes, sir.
So we can all eat. Praise God.
And we have we didn't know you guys online. We got a lot of comments coming through, and my mom was on here. She told me to tell you hi.
Oh,
so it's a lot of things on there. So we could give it another 15 so minutes. So if anybody on here want to ask a question to Pastor Steele AG, or you want to call in, like I said, we're not gonna put a number on there, but you have Pastor's number, AG's number, my number. You want to call in and do it on air. You can also do that. But until then, we want to kind of ask too, how can they somebody want to come to the church, or they want to come to your shop, the address, the time, your business time or service times, you can go ahead and do it right now too.
Okay, we're at 542 West Southern Avenue in Phoenix, Arizona, and we open at 9 o'clock, and we are there at 9 o'clock. That's another thing. Time, we are on time.
Yeah.
Okay. 1368 North Arizona Avenue, 25 years. Thanking God for all the years, and my wife and my family. I just thank them for that. And everybody that's even come through the door at AG's. I thank them all. Yes, sir. Because they all taught me something, and we've helped each other some kind of way. So I just want to say thank you, and hey, we'll go another 25.
Amen.
And look out for, I would say towards the end of this month, or I would say that in October, we're gonna do a small little documentary with AG. I'll be filming that, getting some different people who came through the years, talking to AG, how he started. So we're going to make some real nice for 25 years. So trust me, it's going to look good. So watch out for that also. We'll put that on YouTube and a DVD, what we're going to do with that. So we want to ask Pastor Steele your service times, and they can reach you, how they can reach you like that.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Yeah, we're at 11640 North 19th Avenue. That's Phoenix, Arizona, 85029. Our service times are 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Also, we're reopening our this Wednesday, matter of fact, September 1st. So that's at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. So feel free to come and hang out with us. If you can't get here, stream us. Go to kingdom.church.
Yes, sir.
We have other platforms as well, like YouTube and Facebook, Kingdom on Demand and whatnot. So we give you about 4 ways to watch us online. Yes, and so we would love for you to come and check us out. And then also this Sunday, which is August the 29th, I believe.
Yes, sir.
We are expunging people's records. If you have in the past have had a marijuana charge, we're going to have some individuals here working in our fellowship hall for those of you that have had issues with the law when it comes to marijuana charges. We can get that expunged for you at no cost.
Free.
And that's free. And again, that is starting at this Sunday at our 9 a.m. right after service, or if you're here at the 11 a.m., that'll be happening right after that as well. We're excited about that because most of you might not know, but I've been a convicted felon for 24 years, got in trouble with the law. That was one of the things that pushed me into what I'm doing even today. And now we're helping people get their records expunged. Matter of fact, one of Anthony's friends, Tim, what's Tim's last name? Tim C. I couldn't vote for almost 25 years, but one of Anthony's friends was able to pull some strings, and I was able to vote for the first time in almost 25 years. That's why we said it earlier. It's not about sometimes what you know, it's who you know. Yes, sir. And he put me in connection with him and a couple of my other convicted felon friends. We were all able to vote. That's crazy. This past year.
And also for that thing, it's not just this Sunday. Also, it's going to be following Sundays after that too.
It'll be for the rest actually from September, from August 29th all the way through November.
Okay. So if you can't make it this Sunday, you can come and follow Sunday also, and bring them here, man. Yeah. Like I said, they'll take care of that for you guys. That's also. Right.
That's right.
So I haven't had too many people ask a question. Nobody calling in yet. So we've been on here right now, an hour and 18 minutes. So it went by pretty fast. We have a couple of people on here to my AG. We got Karan saying hello to you. We have Derek Fletcher saying that's good. Bishop talking about something you said earlier. So we have a lot of people on here. I can't go to all the comments right now, but we'll get on. So if somebody didn't watch it live, they can. It'll be on my Facebook page, and I'll share with Pastor Steele and Pastor. Pastor Deacon Anthony Gallows. I'll put them on that page too, and it'll also be on my YouTube page. So you guys want to go back and watch it. It'll be on Apple Podcasts. It'll be on Spotify. It'll be all on streaming. Anything listening wise, you can listen to this again. So there's some good stuff. And to me, I think we should do this again because we can't get everything in on one time.
No.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna have some people probably ask some questions afterwards, and we'll probably come on and do it again. So like I said, from my heart to you guys, I want to say thank you again for making me an entrepreneur. Like I said, without you too, it didn't happen. So I want to say on air and publicly, thank you guys for making it happen for me too.
Praise God. Well, thank you for having us too, man. This has been great today.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for being just consistent and a master of your craft.
That's good. And being a student.
Yeah,
you have to be. Yeah. I'm still a student.
You're still a student, but boy,
I still learn, man.
I don't know how you get all this. Boy,
this is a calling.
This Spanish to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's French to me.
I was always taught, my dad always taught me, he said, don't have one way income, have multiple income. So
right.
I don't just do podcast. I do pictures. I can do video.
Yeah.
I do graphics. I can do a little audio. So I do also, when you're doing entrepreneur, let's do one lane, have the other lanes too to have income coming in too. So, because one thing in income, that's kind of hard, man. So I always have multiple income. So I try to learn different things. So not too many where I can't focus on one thing, Right. So like that. So like I said, thank you again for you guys being on my show today. It was very successful, and I know we'll do it again. Like I said, if you guys want to have any questions, we'll get it to them also. So just go ahead and put it in the comments, and we'll get back to that. So this is going to be our show for the day. I want to say thank you again for being on here, and that's going to be it. Peace out, y'all.
Oh, y'all. Check us out.